Welcome back. We're down to the final segment. I'm going to get right back to the calls. We are off to Texas. Shannon, welcome to the program.
Thanks for taking my call.
What's on your mind today?
Well, I heard the guys talking about using the cam and injectors off the D-Deck 3 and putting it on a D-Deck 4.
Yeah.
And I'm in a situation where I've got a 99 Freightliner FLD with a D-Deck 4 and that needs a cam in it, and I've got a good D-Deck 3 cam injectors and everything there. I was just kind of curious the process, or if it is possible to change out.
Go ahead, John.
Oh, John?
I believe it is. Yeah, and you could use that. I'm not so sure there's an advantage to it though. After when we followed that conversation up, it would depend on the part number of cam you have. If it would be so. I don't
just because I have the parts. I didn't know. I called Detroit. Of course, they told me no, you can't do it. But
you could do it. Some of those cams, the only difference is the bolt in the front of it or something. It's really not that big of a deal. But you could do it. I mean, if you could physically put the stuff in there, it'll probably run great.
Right.
I mean, if it's out of necessity, I wouldn't do it if it were. How should we put it? If it were, just because you're looking for performance or something. But if you really want to, if you got those parts and you'd rather do that than buy other parts, go ahead, use them. You'll be fine.
So I'm assuming you just have to set the injector height off of the D-Deck 3 settings, not the D-Deck 4.
You got it. Yep, yeah. And you always, and when we set an injector height here, we always check the part number on the cam anyway. So you use the part number of the cam, and Detroit's got a chart. You actually can find it online, but the chart that tells you where to set the injector height for that particular cam. And again, the only trouble you could run into is if you were to couple a high lift cam with the short stroke Jake brake. So you got to watch. So you can go one way, but not the other with the Jake brake. If you got the modern Jake brake, it'll work on any of the cams. If you have the older Jake brake, you got to watch which cam you attach it to.
Right. Well, I've got all of it off the same truck.
Okay. You should be fine.
So.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
I think you ought to try it and see if the fuel mileage does improve and let us know.
I'm curious. Yeah, let's follow this. Stay in touch with us if you're still listening. Let us know how it works out.
Yeah, let's head off to Missouri. Albert, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Hey, listen, I'm not very smart mechanically, and so my question, it might be a dumb question or a simple question for you, but it's not for me. I had my 6 injectors replaced. 3 of them, the seals were worn out. The other 3 were pretty bad, but not as bad as the other 3. So anyway, the injector is vertical, right? And they sit in a row, one after the other. My question is, how do they stay vertical? Well, when the guy put it back together, put the new ones in, and put everything back, how do they stay vertical?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
They fit into a mating hole in the cylinder head. So the injector actually drops down in there and is sealed up, and it's kept in contact with the engine's coolant through what they call the injector sleeve or injector tube. So
the mechanic was talking about a cup. The seal failed where the injector goes into the cup, and where does the cup? What is that fastened to? Where does that sit?
The cup is down in the injector head. It's machined. There's a machined hole, and that cup keeps the coolant away from the injector. So on the other side of that brass and or copper tube is antifreeze. So that's where the cup is. And the injector sits down in the cup.
Just to get detailed, Bruce, don't we use stainless steel now too?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's inside the motor. It's not like on top of the...
No, it fits in it. It fits into a receptacle that fits in there.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks, fellas.
Got it. All right. Thanks for the call. Let's head off to Virginia. Phil, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I have a question on we got a Kenworth, a 97 Kenworth, and the pyrometer gauge stopped working. Can I use a multimeter to diagnose whether it's the geese, the harness, or the road?
The easiest thing to do is put a new thermocouple in them. They're about $32. That's usually where it fails. There's two wires that are soldered together down at the very tip, and just put the new thermocouple in and start right there. And then the second thing you do, if that doesn't fix it, you replace the lead wire, and they're probably around $20 also. And if it's the original pyrometer, it's not a Hewitt, H-E-W-I-T-T, just call us up and get a whole Hewitt kit, or about $172, and then that's the best pyrometer there is.
It'll fit in place with the Kenworth pyrometer?
Yeah, it's 2 1/8 inch.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thanks for the call. Looks like we can squeeze in another one here. We're going to head off to Oklahoma. Dick, welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning, Kevin.
What's on your mind today?
To start with, your destination tells us this show here are two of the best shows on radio.
Well, thank you.
More in the last year than I have in the last 20 years.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
My question today is pretty simple. Listening to you and Bruce talk about slowing down to gain fuel mileage, I'm a short haul grain hauler out here, and I'm on a haul right now that's 25 miles one way, and I usually run about 85,000 throws. I got an ISX 455 engine and a 10-speed, and I usually average somewhere around 5.2 mile per gallon. That's a lot of stop signs and a lot of slow corners and things like that, a lot of shipments through the year.
Right.
So I've never been too disappointed, but I did try the last 2 or 3 weeks on this particular haul to slow down, and I'm running 50 to 55. The funny thing is, in a short haul, I'm not losing my place in line, and my fuel mileage, the last tank I checked, was 6.4.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Now,
And I can almost see it on the gate.
you bring up an interesting point, because over the years I have said there are some operations where I understand why people drive like, the cops are after them and they don't want to stop. And it tends to be those local, the aggregate haulers. And in some cases it makes sense. I'm glad you tested this, though, because I've told people, look, you got to try it at least. But let me give you an example. Because you have a fixed day, there's only so much work to get done in a certain amount of time, and once the day is over, you never get that opportunity back. And let's just say that a round pays $200, and if you fly around like crazy all day long, you get 4 runs in, but if you slow down, you only get 3. Well, we could never make up that lost revenue. But you did it and said, hey, look, I slowed down, I'm taking my time a little bit, and I'm still getting the same number of runs in a day, and you're saving a lot of money in fuel.
Yeah. Well, I usually, or did used to run between 65 and 68 anywhere I go. And, when I started this run, I started using your idea to slow down, and I'm never on the throttle more than about halfway, whether I'm taking off or cruising or what I'm doing. And I'm down running around between 12 and 1300 RPM, where I was running between 14 and 15. And the truck's running better. The fuel mileage is even easier on me.
Excellent.
What state are you in?
Well, I live in Kansas. I'm hauling in Oklahoma Panhandle right now.
Okay.
And it's a county paved road. And it was paved during the oil boom, but they can't afford to fix it now. It's pretty rough. But if you're going to run 65, you do a lot of time in the left-hand lane, dodging potholes.
Yeah. The other factor I would tell you to focus on when you're in a local operation, a lot of stop and go, your most important factor for fuel economy is actually rolling resistance. So when you slow down, you do improve rolling resistance, but I would also, that's an operation where I would spend money to get a very low rolling resistant tire, because that can have a pretty big impact. But, I love the fact that you tested this and figured out you could slow down without losing any mileage or revenue.
Well, see, on everything but the steer axle, I run retreads, and I'm getting as many miles as people do out of their new tires. And,
Interesting,
and
because
I disagree a little bit because of the conditions I run in. I run all position tires on the trailer, which has a lot more tread than a regular trailer tire.
correct.
And
Right.
and like about 3 weeks ago, I was running on snowpacked roads, and then that trailer just stays right behind you when you got a tread back there because of that smooth trailer tire.
Yeah, and that is another way of looking at it. Sometimes in the local operations, it can be very hard on tires. So you've got to balance the cost of the tire and the rolling resistance, but it's definitely something to look at. That, and Matt just mentioned progressive shifting, another big improvement. All right, we're all out of time. Thanks to Bruce, John, and Ethan from Pittsburgh Power. We will do it again next week. Be safe. Be profitable, be fit and healthy. Always do the hard work and master the journey. I'm Kevin Rutherford.
This is SiriusXM Radio.